The message that came in was to explore further the law of correspondence. Now, we've covered at least the law of correspondence as part of the universal laws that I've presented even at Rancho for those of you who came with me. But I don't think we've done a deep dive into it. And basically that I just got that download. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to go with it. And I want to give a little bit of history to these laws for those of you who may or may not have been in my class on the universal laws. And there are, they can break down to 14 universal laws, which include law of attraction. But the starting point of these laws are actually 7 laws that were created thousands of years ago by Hermes. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of Hermes, but Hermes is also known as Hermes Trismegistus in the Egyptian in theologies, but he was known from a historical perspective to be a figure that was the wise, the great, and he was the scribe. Sometimes he's represented in Egyptian hieroglyphics as Thoth, which was the egret head and the body of a man. So we're talking Hermetic, and that's where the word Hermetic comes from, okay? From Hermes. So these 7 Hermetic laws are part of what we've covered before in the larger scale of the 14 of them. So I'm going to go through the 7 very quickly. And if you guys want me to dive deeper into each one, because there's so much to learn and grasp from each one, I find it incredibly useful, because once you grasp these laws, they're pretty much, and principles, they're pretty much a foundational idea that collectively contains everything that we learn in theology and religion too. The only thing is that this is more esoteric, okay, if that makes sense. So the 7 Hermetic laws, and it's based on a book called The Kabbalion, which is very interesting. If you guys want to listen to it on audio, it's on YouTube for free. So I highly recommend it. It's not a large book, but it's quite detailed. The first one is the law of mentalism. This is actually the law of correspondence, is actually the principle of correspondence, is the second law. Then there is the principle of vibration, which we've all heard about. You understand that everything is vibrational. In fact, most of these ideas that are part of our metaphysical and spiritual practice are infused, and they begin with these laws, with these 7 laws. Okay, so we have the principle of vibration, right? That we all know that everything vibrates and that it has a vibrational frequency, everything, whether it's physical, material, or etheric, correct? Number 4, the principle of polarity. We know this one too, right? That everything has a duality, a positive and a negative, right? We know number 5, the principle of rhythm, that everything is cyclical, that everything has a birth and a death, a beginning and an end, etc. Correct? Number 6, the principle of cause and effect. Everything has a cause, every cause has an effect, and every effect has a cause, right? And number 7, the principle of gender, right? That everything has a feminine and a masculine energy to it, that we are both feminine and masculine, and that although we chose to come in as feminine, we have a masculine side to us as well. This goes with everything. So you notice that these 7 laws that I just that are the original Hermetic laws, right, do not have the law of attraction that we know so well, that has become so popular. But I felt that this law of correspondence, at least the way it's played its role in my life, and I'm going to give examples today, has been incredibly telling for me. And most recently, I'll share with you guys as we go through this teaching why it has come up for me again. So the law of correspondence goes like this: as above, so below; as below, so above; as within, so without; as without, so within. Now you say that to yourself and you ask, what the hell does that mean? What are you trying to explain me? Well, it's very, very simple if you break it down to the idea that, and it also goes to the first law, which is the law that of mentalism, that all is one, meaning there's no separation between what happens within you and what happens outside of you. Okay? And that there is no separation with this material plane and the plane that is above that we do not see, that is etheric. Does that make sense? Okay? That there is no separation. You cannot do something here within you and expect that is what outside of you will be separate from it. This is why, in my opinion, and I have the firm belief that whatever manifests in your physical body is actually connected to the spiritual plane, and vice versa. So as you clear what's within you, you clear what's without you, outside of you. Does that make sense to you guys? This is why when we detox our bodies, we detox our mind and spirit. And when we detox our mind and spirit, we detox our body. There is no separation between those two actions. We, as human beings in this plane, have a tendency to think that we can do everything in the physical, right? Okay, if I make my to-do list and I tackle it one by one, and I do, and that, but inside of you, if there is a conflict, a resistance, or a fear, or an emotion that is charged with negative vibration, you won't get very far. Okay, so we have to start learning. And the reason that I wanted to go over this class is because I believe that as we learn this skill, which I think is a skill, this is a tool that we can use to help our lives flow with ease. Okay, but we have to practice it. And even more than practicing it, we have to understand that this is alchemy. Okay, literally, what is alchemy? When you transmute something into something else. So what if I was to tell you that all of you are wizards of creation? You're all creating every second. I've told you this a million times, but I'm going to repeat it because it's worth repeating. Everything that shows up in your reality is your own creation. Now, this is interesting because as we create, we do this many times unconsciously. And this is the lesson of the day. I want you guys to, at the end of this class, be conscious and learn how to claim how to create, how to alchemize and transmute the energy of your inner being into your outer reality. Okay? And literally an affirmation, you know how, I love, Lily, that you posted that little snippet with, I had never seen that, with Louise Hay, and how she started with Florence Scovel Shinn, and how I never thought that And it does make sense, right? That everything has a beginning, right? Everybody is influenced by everyone else. None of us are new at it. We're all new at this and we're all old at this. Okay. So imagine that Hermes created these laws thousands upon thousands of years ago. I mean, and here I am stating them today as if they were yesterday's news. Okay. And this is why we do this every Sunday, because this is a practice. This is a learning. This is not about, oh, I got this, that's it, I'll take the test and it's done. No, right? When you guys were in school, right, we'd cram for the test, right? We take the test, we're done, we got the A, and then what? This is not about getting the A. This is about becoming the A. Okay, and that's what we're doing here. We're becoming good at this, okay? And it's always a process. So when I saw Louise Hay stating what she did about Florence Scovel Shinn, I said, wow, no, she gave her own spin on affirmations. But what is an affirmation? Does anybody know what an affirmation is? Can anybody tell me?
I'm guessing at the definition, self confidence. I don't know, I was going to use the affirmative again in the word. Forget it. I'm out.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you what the definition of the affirmations are. Okay, it's our modern day take on a statement of truth. A statement of truth. Okay. And what is true? Truth is law. Truth is law. And law is truth. Okay. And these truths that, in like our forefathers say, are held self-evident. Okay. Right? It's even in our, it's in our declaration, in our constitution. These truths are self-evident. Okay. These truths are when we affirm, now listen closely, guys, we affirm our alignment with God. When we affirm our alignment with God, and you can exchange the word God with whatever you want. You can exchange it with love, which is my favorite. My favorite exchange of the word God is love. Because we all know that love is a vibration, right? Love is a truth. When we align with truth, when we claim truth through the word, the power of our word, like Florence Scovel Shinn does, when we claim it with our words, we align with our truth, and we create a vibrational energetic field. We penetrate, like think of yourself as an arrow, okay? Think of your word as an arrow, and you pull the bow, and the force of your pull, okay, when you let it go, the force of that arrow goes, okay? Now, intention, which we've covered on the class, is the energetic force with which that arrow flies. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. So if we are vibrational and we work on our vibration every day, we work on raising our vibration, what we have within us is the force with which the arrow flies and creates the reality that is outside of us. Okay? Now, what happens is that our fears, and when we are using the energy of fear, which is false, by the way. Fear is not true. Okay? Fear is an illusion. Fear is an illusion that it's almost like a trap we fall into. It's like quicksand. Okay? We fall into the trap of fear. And when we do this, we start using fear as the force that shoots the arrow into our reality. Does that make sense? And we do this all the time. Okay? But it's not truth. And that's why affirmations are so good for you, but they're only as good as your energy. So if you don't believe, okay, because belief, remember my B on my shirt in Rancho? Belief is our superpower. Okay, if you don't believe that affirmation to be true, there isn't any way that that thing or that desire is going to manifest. I mean, you just don't have the chemicals to make it happen in the alchemy, okay? You just don't have the right combination of force to make it happen. Therein is the as within, so without. And I'll tell you how this reality I'll give you an example in my own life so that you guys can understand what I'm talking about. Okay. Something that's come up for me recently that I thought was over and done with is the way that I feel internally over the many times that I have created something that has been on the verge of being what in this world would be called successful, and it didn't happen. Okay, this is in my career. Okay, more than anything in my career, not in my personal life. I think in my personal life, I have mastered a great deal. But in my career, most of you know me as a successful entrepreneur, as a successful interior designer, as a successful creator. But there have been many, 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 many incidents in my life of things that I have wanted to manifest and imagined to manifest in certain ways that just didn't happen. But here's what's interesting, that they would get very, very close to happening, and then poof, they would just disappear like a little bubble that burst. And what that does in us, when we feel a sense of failure or unworthiness within ourselves, we start building this traumatic energy attached to the outcome of these things. And I'll give you examples in my life. It's been wanting to make my furniture collection a success, wanting my book to be exposed to the world and become a bestseller, being able to create furniture collections that I've created in line with my book, all of these things. And Florinda especially has witnessed just in the times that she's been with me, and there's been many, many times before. So I'll give you an even better example. I really believe in 1997, I entered a competition to create a furniture piece, and it was a competition called the Florida Style Competition, right? When I created this, I mean, imagine 1997, okay, guys, this is a long time ago. I created for that competition 2 bathroom vanities, like bathroom furniture pieces. I created them, I sketched them, I designed them, and I presented them. And this came out of my inspiration, okay? I had no, I don't believe that at that time, you know how popular bath vanities are today? Really pretty bath vanities. We go online, we buy them, we put them in our bathrooms. You know, in those days, everybody did bath cabinets, right? Those Formica cabinets that went from edge to edge, you know, ugly looking things that went from one side to the other. They didn't have legs. They were just like a cabinet and a countertop and the sink inside of it. That was it. And I created these gorgeous bath furniture pieces. One of them was made out of banana leaves in iron that was based on a design that I did for a door for a client, for an entry door. And I did these gorgeous banana leaves and they floated, and it had a marble countertop, and it would look more like a console with a sink in it, right? We see those every day today, but at that time, this did not exist. Then I also did another one made out of glass with wood legs floating as well. The one that won the competition, which I won the competition, it had a two-fold competition. You would win the design, and if you won the design in your category, they'd give you the award, and then you'd have to go to competition again and make the piece. Okay, and if you made the piece and then you won, they would give you $5,000 as the prize. So I won the design competition, and then I went ahead and built the vanity out of banana leaf and iron and marble and the whole thing. And then I won that, and I got the $5,000. So I decided to create, with that $5,000, I decided to create a collection of bath vanities. So I did 4 other bath vanities. This is a long story. I know it's a long story, but it'll help you get the point. Okay. So after I created these bath vanities, I said, oh my God, I'm going to take a picture of them and I'm going to start selling them. Why not? Then this doesn't really exist, but they're really pretty. Everybody loves them. Okay, whatever. So I did that. One of them, I ended up building the one that was made out of glass with wood. And I said, after I took a picture of each of them, I went to the kitchen and bath show in Chicago with my pictures, and I met with different companies thinking, well, maybe they'll make them and they'll make them part of their line. Well, I met with Kohler. Do we know Kohler? Everybody knows Kohler, right? I met with Kohler. I showed them my bath vanities, and a few months later, they give me a call. And they say, you know what? We would like to work with you and engineer this glass one with our sister company called Roburn. You all know Roburn. It's like the medicine cabinet company. They make beautiful medicine cabinets in mirror and glass. It took them a year. They gave me a contract. We went into engineering, and it took a year for them to even sign the contract. Then we went into engineering. That took another 6 months or 9 months. When we were finally almost there, ready to create the first prototype, they decided to shelf it and didn't do it, right? A few months later, Kohler comes out with their bath vanities, and the rest is history, right? So, as you can imagine, I was a young girl. How would you feel? Pretty shitty. I felt like I was betrayed. I felt like my window of opportunity had been lost. And I went about afterwards, I was so angry, because now I can admit I was angry. I decided to design 2 other vanities that were similar in concept. I went to manufacture them in Honduras. I got patents. I have several patents. 2 of them are those bath vanities. And to this day, I still manufacture these bath vanities for my clients. They're still just as valid as they were then in 1997. And since then, the bath vanity world has exploded. We don't think of building cabinets only from wall to wall anymore. We think of floating vanities, and millions of companies have them, right? So who knows? Maybe I was the first creator of the bath vanity. I don't know. But I can tell you that that experience and many others that came afterwards for me were very painful. Okay. And I can list them. Literally, I have let's say, because I'm a natural creator. So I'm always like, one of my favorite pastimes is to sit on a plane and create a furniture collection in sketches. And I sketch and sketch and sketch and sketch. And it got to the point where there was a point where I put the sketchbooks away and I didn't sketch anymore. That's how hurt I was. And guess what? I thought I had gotten over it. I really did. But recently, I realized that that was still a painful element in me. And the person that brought this up to me was Diana Castro. Diana came to my office recently because we're going to do another video since I've moved to another space and so much has happened. And I have a beautiful branding video on my website that needs to be updated. And when she brought this up, and how I felt about these different incidents that have happened in my life, it hit me so hard that I still had this thorn in my side. And it's no wonder that these things don't manifest for me. And they don't manifest for me because I still have a pain within me that is based on fear, anger, resentment. Okay? So this is an example in my life. And by the way, this is something I am working on because I refuse to have this continue in myself. I want to alchemize this from fear into love. I want to make sure that I embrace my failures, or what I consider to be failures, or what I believed to be failures, as beautiful experiences that have converted me into the person that I am. And this is the work. This is what I want you all to ask yourselves. What is it that I'm dreaming about that I would love to manifest, that I would see myself having, and yet is somehow out of my reach? What do I believe is out of my reach? And if you believe it's out of your reach, dive deep into yourself and ask, why is that there? What energetic vibration is holding me back? Therein will lie the seed of the unconscious fears that you have inside of you that are holding you back from reaching your highest and fullest potential, because all of it is energetic, as within, so without. So when you are able, like me, to manifest a beautiful house like I live in, because I dreamed it up and I created it out of my mind, and it flowed and it happened and it was easy, I know that I'm in alignment with my truth. Are you in alignment with your truth? That's the question you need to ask yourself. And you may be in alignment with your truth in 80% of your life, but there may be a little 10% there that you're still working on. Because I know that as above, so below, and as below, so above. It may be in the energy of your health or your physical body. Maybe you're not happy with your physical body or some aspect of it, and you are in a state of resentment of it. So it doesn't cooperate the way that it could if you accepted it and loved it. So we're here today to claim and practice how to do that. Okay? Because like the affirmations that Louise Hay uses, they are just statements of truth that claim your reality. Are you ready to do that? Are you ready to claim the reality that you want? By making sure that you've cleaned out and purged any negative emotions and resentments that you have within you. So, for example, and it's interesting how when when I decide that I'm going to do a lesson, everything shows up that needs to be said. So I continued to read this amazing book, the Book of Mastery. And I was taken aback by this. It says, okay, the alignment that you will hold will allow you the comprehension at a very different level than you are attending to now. Does that make sense? The alignment that you hold inside of you. Okay. Anything you see before you, high and low and in between, is a creation of man. And what man makes, one is in accord with. So does that means that if you are in accord with war and you believe in war, war exists. It's quite obvious that the planet still believes in war, correct? Collectively. Something happened in a conversation with Maritza this week. Maritza, do you mind if I share what we talked about with this Highland Park incident?
Sure.
Okay. So Maritza called me the other day and she said, that's it. I'm coming back to Miami because she lives near Highland Park, where the parade happened in 4th of July and hurt so many people. And what was her immediate reaction? And this was on the heels of that week, her car was stolen and her husband's car was broken into and it was taken. And because of LoJack, she immediately got the car back. And she was blown away by that service that she didn't even know she had. Okay. But she got her car.
Story. True
What
story. True story.
True story, right? So listen to what this is. The lesson behind this story is really interesting because this is how I spinned it for her. Because the minute that happened in Highland, first she calls me that week and tells me about the cars being broken into and stolen, and that her dog was alerting her in the middle of the night, barking and barking so much so she got up and they saw the people taking the car. So they were immediately able to take action. And the police said how those cars were pretty much gone in the neighborhoods because they weren't able to be gotten back. And yet she got her car back intact within the hour. Okay. So that's the first incident. Then the next one is the parade. And she calls me and like she said, I'm coming back to Miami. This has gotten terrible. I don't understand what's happening around here. Look at what happened. You know, Carter and his daughter were on their way to the parade. And then they saw the police and all the thing and everything. And they came back home and all of that happened. Well, I told Maritza, I said, Maritza, did you notice how that you didn't go to the parade? That Carter did not go to the parade? Did you notice that your car was delivered back to you? Did you notice that even though the world around you seemed like it was falling apart, you were able to pierce that and everything went well for you? Did you notice? And she hadn't even thought of it that way. And I said, that means that you are in alignment with your truth and that your reality is not the reality of those other poor people that were influenced by the deaths in the parade. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is that even though these bad things were happening around her, she maintained a vibration of love that protected and shielded her. Do you get that? And this is what we want to do every day, is to be in a state of alignment that protects us from the negativity that is around us like a force field. That is alchemy. That is transmutation. And that is understanding and claiming your truth. And we do this through our practices every day. We make sure that we practice this. So what I was starting to read to you was this, that, okay, and what man makes, one is in accord with. That's why I want you to understand, what are you in accord with? When you lift above the vision of fear, you are not in consort with fear. Let me repeat that. When you lift yourself above the vision of fear, you are not in consort with it. The idealization of fear, I need my fear protects me, calls fear to you. So you can witness anything and be in consort with fear. And this is the example they give in the book, which I thought was the cutest thing, okay? Look at that little dog. She's so cute. Or you can say, look at that little dog. He's going to bite me. You have the right to decide for yourself how you are in agreement. So you can decide if that dog is the cutest thing in the world, or you can decide if that dog is going to bite you. Now, of course, this is the same incident as me with the history that I had created for myself of what I thought was failures, right? I am in consort with failure, which is a fear of mine. So guess what? I will continue to fail, in my opinion, but it's my choice. It's my choice. So you could choose to see that cute little dog as a friendly little thing, or you can choose to say that that dog is going to bite you, right? However, what has happened to us many times is that if we have had dogs bite us, we could become very fearful of dogs, right? Does that make sense? So how do you get rid of the fear? How do you get rid of when you see the dog that you don't believe that it's going to bite you anymore? And that you actually go up to it and say, you're a cute, friendly dog. You know how they say that dogs smell fear, right? Isn't it ironic that they use that example? Because it's true, right? You can choose the universe. You can make the universe a friendly place, or you can make the universe an unfriendly place. You can say, I'm afraid of where I live now because these incidents that surrounded me, like murders in parades, or people stealing from my own home and my front yard, you can choose to consort with that fear. And this is what I told Maritza. I said, Maritza, you were protected. You were shielded by your own love. Somehow Carter didn't get to the parade. You weren't even going to go. He was going to pick you up afterwards. And all the timing worked in your favor. And your car was returned perfectly within the hour. Right? So obviously you're in alignment with love. Okay? So you must all understand that a collective creation has been made by all of you at a higher level to move this frequency. This was such an important statement, guys. I'm going to read it again. I'm going to read it directly from the book because when I read this, it really hit me. Okay. You must all understand that a collective creation has been made by all of you at a higher level to move this frequency to the next level of incarnation of the species you are in. Mankind is at a level of awakening, and the resistance to the awakening is causing some mayhem that may be attended to through physical experience or can be chosen to be realigned with in a higher way. You actually don't know that you have choices here. How you attend to the little dog who is so cute or may bite is entirely up to you. And how you deal with a world that may be lifting or crumbling is up to you as well. Either one will give you a vastly different experience of yourself, And everything you see around you is a reflection of this. Does that make sense? Do you get this at its deepest level? We are all collectively creating, guys, all of us. We create for ourselves and we create for the world around us. This is why when we pray together, we elevate the vibration of consciousness throughout the world. It doesn't have any barriers. We penetrate the field of the unconscious and we use our energy to raise the vibrations around us. This is what prayer is. Okay? We can do this. But the first step is to start with ourselves. We must claim our own reality. We must affirm it. And we must see the world through the eyes of the Christ consciousness. Through love, not through fear. The divine as you, who knows who she is, also knows her purview as a creative act. You are in a creative act every time you see anything. Do you know that? The claim, I am here, I am here, I am here, is the trumpet that will sing as your frequency. So you know how I've taught you the words, I know who I am in truth. I know what I am in truth. I know how I serve in truth. We will add to that, I am here, I am here, I am here. And the reason we do this is because we are affirming our truth by saying this. Some of you know this, some of you don't, and some want to know it. What I am, if I don't, what am I or who am I if I don't judge? If I don't decide that those people are wrong? They won't change. Mankind will never change. If we state this, if we believe this to be true, then how can we change it? How can we change if our belief is stuck in judgment that everything is wrong? We have to be able to get over that. Just like I'm needing to get over my failures. I'm going to transmute and alchemize my fears and the traumas that were created by being bitten by the dogs. Okay? I'm working on that. And I promise you that I will succeed. I'm going to claim my future success because I'm ready. And by the way, I hadn't been ready. I wasn't even conscious of it, by the way. That's the irony. The irony is that I didn't even realize that that was still within me. I only saw the evidence of it by things coming to me and then being taken away. And I saw that it was from the outside that was happening, when all this time it was happening from within me. Because at the end of the day, my feelings were that I was not worthy, that I didn't deserve those successes. And I can tell you right now, as I say these words, there's still that energy in me. But I will work on this and I will get over it. And this is what happens when sometimes we have a broken heart. When our hearts are broken by an incident, by something that hurts us so painfully, we have a hard time repairing it. And scars are left behind. But it can be transmuted through the energy of love. Truth, we say, is a vibration, and the aspect of the Creator is a vibration seeking to express through you as truth. I am aligning to truth is a claim you may make. I like this one. You could write it down. I am aligning to truth. Does that sound good to you? Does it resonate? I am aligning to truth. And notice, like Florence Scovel Shinn, everything is always said in the present. It's not I'm going to align. No, no, no. It's I am. Okay, I am aligning to truth. In fact, this is another amazingly powerful statement. In fact, there is only one reality. All the aspects that you perceive are illusory, but because you engage them and call them into manifestation in your environment, in social class, in all things of the physical realm, you begin to understand that two men may stand side by side in a garden, and one will be in Eden and one will be in hell, based on what they know and what they claim and what they see. Okay? Isn't that true? Every one of us sees the world through our own beliefs, perceptions. Every single one of us. We could be standing together as a group and be looking at a scenery, and each of us sees it through our own eyes, in our own ways, and through our own emotions at that particular moment. So be conscious of how you feel. Be conscious of your own inner being and how you are perceiving the world around you. Because as within, so without. As above, so below. This is the law. This is the truth. And if you align with truth, which is aligning with love, you cannot fail. It is in a belief of fear that you lose your way. I choose love. I will always choose love. Even when I forget, I will remind myself to choose love. And I understand, Maritza, it's scary to witness something as grave as a young man shooting down people and killing them and not let it get to you. But you get to choose to believe that even that human being that is in pain, that has caused damage to others, is a child of God. You can bring that energy up with a prayer. You can say, I see, and this makes me very emotional. You can say, I see the one before me with the eyes of Christ. We can say this together for those people that have been hurt by this incident. Let's say this. I see the one before me with the eyes of Christ. This lifts the one before you in her vibration to the perception that you are claiming. You are giving an enormous gift when you say these words. This is not a test to see how evolved you are. Oh, I could see that man I can't stand with the eyes of Christ. No, this is not the way this works. You have to believe it. This is not what this is. Here is what it is. A great and deep awareness of the inherent worth in all life. Okay? Because the law of one is that all is in God and God is in all. Whether it's negative or positive, God is in all of it. And I know that that's hard to believe. It's hard to absorb that every one of us is in a state of alignment with truth, but we may have lost our way. And that everything that occurs is working for us, to grow us, So we get to choose how we feel about this incident. And we can say, I see the one before me with the eyes of Christ. You can claim that, and you can choose love, even in your greatest fear. Sheila, were you bringing your hand up all this time and I've been like rambling on? I see a little hand up. No? Okay. So that was another claim that I felt was very powerful. I say you use it when you feel yourself falling into fear or judgment. You can say, I am seeing with the eyes of the Christ. If you see that and believe it, because it's really a feeling, it's not just a statement. Okay? Just like I said that the affirmations only work if you believe them. So if you say a statement that doesn't feel that it's true, then make sure you get to a place vibrationally that it feels true, because it won't work. And just like I am working on getting over the dogs that bit me, find those little points of trauma that are still stuck inside of you, that are preventing you from being the greatest, highest being that you are. Because we all have it. We all have it. And it's evidenced outside of us. Sometimes it'll show up as an illness for us to deal with. Sometimes it'll show up as someone or a pattern that keeps repeating, some type of person that keeps repeating in your life. And what's happening now is as we rise, as we all awaken, it is only natural that those that are not in our vibrational resonance will fall away. So I don't know about you, but I've been experiencing a lot of change from that perspective. I notice that certain people that used to be near me are no longer near me. And new people that are very much like me are showing up. Has that happened to all of you?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's called the detox of life.
Yes. I've noticed that that's like happening. And I witness this and I go, wow, isn't that strange that all of a sudden this person that used to be almost in my life daily, now it just like disappeared. And now I have a whole new set of people that surround me. And it's only natural that as you rise, that it's not like you have, when you say and you make the claim, I see before me a person that is part of a divinity just like me, even though you don't like that person, guess what you're doing? You're rising, you're raising that person's vibration. That's why it's an alchemical process. It's a transmutation. Okay. When you change your energy within, you change it for someone else outside of you. Okay. Without any words, it's an energetic thing. So don't be surprised that people that were in your life and they were part of you at this time, you know, at that time, are no longer part of you now. It's going to happen naturally. So the law of correspondence is acting in you and for you and with you at all times, just like all of the other laws. When you vibrate at a level of love and truth, you will naturally overcome those things outside of you that have been thorns on your side. Okay? And I can tell you, when I've been in my best states, such as a neighbor that has been very aggressive, abusive, that has happened to me. I've literally transmuted that energy by showing him compassion in my mind, by forgiving him, by saying, I know that you're not in a good place. And this can happen mentally. It doesn't have to happen face to face or with your words. You can just do this within you. It's very powerful, guys, very powerful. So take a look around you, take an assessment of those things that you feel are not within your grasp. What beliefs are you still holding about them? What are you holding inside of you that is holding you back? The Hermetic laws, the 7 Hermetic, I've actually gone over, some people say 12, 14 laws. Some are more almost like a redundancy of them, but there's 7 Hermetic laws. And this is what and guys, if you'd like for me to dive in deeply, we have today we did the Law of Correspondence. Okay. If you'd like for me to dive deeper into the others, which are amazing, because I have done that in certain ways. For example, I've spoken, of course, about the principles of vibration. We know them very deeply. We know that our emotions are a reflection of those vibrations. We've talked about that. The law of rhythm, meaning the back and forth, the pendulum, the ebb and flow, everything has a rhythm in life, the cycles of life. If you want me to dive deeper into each one, I'm happy to do so. This is the one that just came up for the lesson this week. I've had it since before the 4th of July weekend, and I was diving even deeper into it. And then when I started reading my book again, there was so much that lined up with it, of course, how it should be. So one last thing. The art of alchemy transmutes that which is undesirable into that which is worthy. Mastery consists in using the higher forces against the lower ones, escaping the pains of the lower planes by vibrating on a higher transmutation. Okay? We can't work on this through denial. The weapon of the master is transmutation. If you want to reach your mastery, you must work on alchemizing your energetic field and transmuting it to a higher level. I know that's a lot of big words, but that's basically what we do every day. There's power in word, right? This is why affirmations are great. This is why Florence Scovel Shinn's ways, what she said, the way she would alchemize, what she was doing was using her words to alchemize the energy of something into reality, transmuting it from negative to positive. Practice this week. Claim your truth. And by doing so, you will see the evidence of it in your lives. I know that I have. Over and over again, I'm amazed at the life that I've created for myself. And I continue to be in awe of it. And I continue to practice doing it every day. And it is a practice, guys. And we will fall, we'll fall into the traps of fear. We'll get all emotional or fearful or resentful about something. But you know what? If you're able to snap out of it and say, you know what? I know this. I've got this. I've got this. If you're able to do this for yourselves, you will see the evidence of it show up in your life. So if you find yourself in a state of grief and sadness, what you've done is bring your energy down. You've got to practice bringing your energy up. Okay? So you have to love it away. You have to love it away. And it's really hard to love away a child or even a parent that gave this child a weapon of mass destruction and went out there and killed all of these people. It's really hard to do that, but we must bless it. We must say the lives that were affected by this are in some way changed for the better. We are all witnessing that we can be better. Maybe the point of all of this is that they will establish laws at some point that no one can buy a weapon of mass destruction. Maybe that is the point of those deaths. And sometimes it takes quite a few of them for us to come to that realization. So we have to start elevating our vibration to a place of love and non-judgment, and understand that all of it is part of God. All of it. So yes, it's hard to do that, but we have to try with ourselves first. And you can say, I am love. I am love. You can't feel bad when you say, I am love, right? That simple statement, I am love. I send love. I choose love. I am here. I am here. Who said there are evil forces in the world? Yes, of course there are, because everything is a polarity. There is always going to be the polarity of love. Always. We can't know one without the other. How do we know bliss if we haven't felt grief? It's the nature of our beautiful planet. It is all beautiful. We are in a perfect state of contrast. When we have a beautiful day, we know it because we've had shitty ones. We get caught in the dogma of religion instead of understanding it as just principles of law and nature, and if we understand it as principles of law and nature, and we apply these laws and principles and don't get caught up in the dogma and the religion and all of that, then we're more capable of understanding these truths to be self-evident, like I mentioned at the beginning. Okay. And yes, I did mention the book. And honestly, guys, it's so easy because if you just go on to YouTube, you can listen to it on audio for free. It is an amazing book. And it is where all of the universal laws started from, that are the principles underlying every religion that exists on this planet. So the Kabbalion, yes, that's it.
It's only about 1,000 years old, just a little.
How many years?
6,000 years old.
About 5,000 or 6,000 years old, yes.
Supposedly, these are the laws passed down by
Hermes.
Yes.
Hermes, I said that too. That's how I started the talk, Mom.
Sorry.
It's okay, and it's worth repeating. It's absolutely worth repeating. Leslie, do you have your hand up? Leslie Almeida? Yes, no, yes, no. I see little hands up. Raquel, do you have your hand up? Or is it just me? Like, am I just seeing this on the screen? I don't know. Okay, they're just showing up. Anyway, guys, it's awesome to be able to share once again with all of you. It's amazing to me that these downloads keep coming. I'll keep saying them as long as they keep coming. And I hope that you can apply some of this wisdom into your lives. Take notice, because I know that even for me, like I was actually kind of taken aback when Diana said, how do you seem like you're angry about these situations that happened to you in the past. And when she said that, I literally had to sit there for a second and go, oh, holy shit. I am angry. And anger, and I'm going to close with this. Here's a list of things that do not need to be there, meaning in your reality. Okay? Fear in all of its forms and all of its creations. And here is what is fear: war, poverty, greed, anger, abuse, and violence. These are all things you see outpictured that you think must be there, but they don't have to be. What if, just what if, they didn't exist in your reality? That's what we're striving for. That beautiful what if. If we believe it, we can create it. Yes, Lourdes, fear protects us, but fear not from an energetic perspective, okay? Fear is an illusion of our own creation. It is a parasympathetic. Our physical bodies will go into that fear just because we need to protect our physical body. It's our survival mode, but we don't want to be in survival mode, guys. None of us want to be in survival mode. We want to be in thriving mode, not surviving mode. Okay? So believe what you want to believe. You have a choice. Yes, it's our resistance to facing our fears that magnifies them. Yes. Don't magnify your fear. Yes, Mom.
What you resist persists.
Yes, that's how this whole talk started. You know that? You don't know the history of this talk. You don't know the history. The history of this talk, Mom, is very simple. Deborah, I would tell her all the time, what you resist persists. What you resist persists. And Deborah one day calls me up and says, I got it. Now we have to teach it to everybody. And that's how this began. Thank you guys for joining me on Sacred Soulful Sundays. I love seeing all your beautiful faces. I love sharing these moments with you. And thank you for granting me this beautiful time in which we all learn, grow, flourish, and expand. I love you.
Namaste.
Namaste.